Good morning. It is just getting light out. Got a pumpkin patch. Watering system's been going good, little soaker hose. Got the kids trained so they know how to turn it on and off for me now, so that's always a plus. It is so early that the chickens, they're not even out yet. Yeah, they're still snoozing away. Boy, it is quiet. They are sleeping hard. Must have had a rough night last night or something, but we got a busy day today. A lot of stuff on the list I was hoping to take care of, but my one big goal is I need to build a goat shed, a goat shelter of some sort. And yeah, I don't have goats, but I'm getting goats. We're getting 6 Nigerian dwarf goats in about a week and a half, and I have nothing. I have nothing for goats. I have land, and that's about it. So we need shelter, fencing, water, probably have to get some grain, hay, straw, things like that. But I think the most important things probably is shelter, fencing. So in the wood shop is where I have to stash. I don't have a lot of room in my barn. So side by sides in here, my mower's in here, power washer's in here. I actually left the trailer out last night because it wasn't gonna rain last night. I'm just very picky about leaving my stuff outside, getting rained on, getting moisture and stuff. I don't know what it is, but I just cannot do it. So, but trailer's outside. Got a few things I got to get out of the barn, make a room. I think the structure for this shed, goat shed, it's gonna be too big for in here. It's only, I think I'm looking at about 7 foot wide of space, and the entire shelter I think it's gonna be about 8 by 8. So I'm gonna have to build the majority of it outside, but gotta get this cleaned out, get my tools, get everything I need to build the goat shed. So just like any other project that I do around here that consists of building with wood, I usually draw out the project, just so I know exactly the amount of building materials I'm gonna need, so I don't have a lot of waste and stuff too, and I don't wanna overspend if I don't need to. Plus I like to play with cattle a little bit, just kind of fun too. So that's what I did right here. I actually drew up a rough idea of what I want this thing to look like. Probably hard to see here for you right now, but it's gonna be a good start. It's got all my measurements, everything kind of detailed down. Pretty much, I mean, I could probably build this to the exact dimensions. It's gonna be just fine. But a lot of times I end up winging it partway through if I see something I need to tweak or alter, but it's gonna be a great idea to turn that into our goat shack. So first things first, we got our 4x4 base. Those are all green tree ground structure rated, so they can be sitting on the ground. That's gonna be the base of this whole thing. What I wanted out of this goat structure was something I can move around, because one, I really don't know where they're going to end up landing for good. But I also have a lot of wooded property that I don't use that's full of brush and just all that stuff that goats like to eat and browse on. So I think I'm going to turn this into a portable goat structure. It's kind of nice to have a flat little structure of some sort for putting your tools on. Plus, I'm gonna have to be doing some cutting on some 2x4s, so I figured I might get this thing hooked up here remove the sides. And that's gonna give me a pretty nice little flat area to keep everything somewhat organized. And I probably should back it up just a little bit closer. So this one here is going to be one of the two runners that's going to run along the ground. That's going to be, this is going to be the front of the shack right here. So this is what's going to be like the sleigh skis basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually measure back 7 inches, just because that's the number I wanted. I wanted, and you'll see here in a little bit, I wanted some meat for what I'm about to do next. Take my square that out. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back 3.5 inches, the same thickness as this right here, put another line, and I'm actually gonna cut this chunk out halfway, and then I'm gonna do the same on the bottom side of here, and then it's going to interlock itself. And it's going to make this structure really sound and tight. Plus, then it's going to bring this down flush to the bottom of this 4x4. So the entire bottom of the shelter is all on the ground. I'm not going to have this giant gap here for more critters and snow and wind and rain to blow up and underneath it. So it's going to have a nice flat platform, plus the structure. It's going to be secure and it's going to be super, super tight. Now what I did is I actually grabbed a scrap piece of 4x4 that I had from a different project from about a year ago, brought it over here because I was going to use that as my template. I was just going to mark it quick. But because it was a year old, it had already dried, and it was actually 1/8 of an inch thinner than these new wet pressure treated pieces of lumber. So if I would have done that, all of my cuts and holes would have been too small, too tight. Nothing would have fit. I would have had to go back and work on it some more. So I'm just going to line this up as best I can. And mark it this way. So I'm gonna go mark the other ski basically, and then I'm gonna get these lined up, mark the backside, and we'll start some cutting. All right, bring that to my line. That's perfect. That one is right on the line over there, and I can now mark each side of these. When I cut this out, it's gonna be the exact size I need for this specific board. While I got this up here, I'm gonna do the back 7 also. So now with the lines marked, these being 3.5 inches, I want to cut halfway down. I needed to make a measurement 1.75 inches. And that is gonna be the depth right there that I need to set my saw for what I'm going to be doing next. Safety first. And we cut and cut and cut. Now, for the most part, oh yeah, they're already crunching out of there. There you go. Look at that. Just about perfect. Now it's gonna take a chisel and a hammer. We'll clean that up. And then I got the other 3 to do, obviously, but then I gotta do the same thing here. So I'll go on the bottom side, and when this is done, this whole piece, boom, will slide and slip right into here. Oh, listen to that. Just like that. Not quite as smooth. There we go. This one has a big knot in it. I don't think these are gonna come out quite as nice. That's right. A little persuasion. There we go. So the 4 bottoms are cut. Before I cut these, I actually have to mark these now too. What I'm gonna do is actually, instead of going 7 inches, I'm actually gonna bring this in 3.5 inches. Then I'll just flip it over. I'll kind of slide it around a little bit, but I'll just line up this bottom nice and square with my line. Then I'll mark the opposite side. So now I know exactly where I'm cutting that one out, and I'll come up 1 3/4 again, knock that out. All right, I'm pretty sure the kids are probably awake by now, so I'm gonna take a quick break, head inside, have some breakfast with them. We'll be back out with the chisel. We'll clean those joints up. All right, now I'm just gonna take my chisel and I'm gonna clean out the leftovers along the bottom of these cutouts, kind of smooth it out a little bit. All right, so they're saying there's a chance of rain in about an hour and a half, so I went ahead and busted out the canopy just in case. But I got all of these cut and cleaned up. And before I place them together, what I need to do is, because these are gonna be on the ground, these are what I'm gonna be pulling from, and I'm gonna be pulling this direction always, I wanna go ahead and cut this back like a 45, take a little bit off, so that way it's not snagging on dirt and or grass. Actually, it's already starting to sprinkle right now. But yeah, I'm gonna make those cuts. I'm gonna pull those, take them inside to the chop saw quick, figure out what angle I want those at, make those cuts, and then we can assemble this base and then start with the walls. All right, so I don't need to take off too much, just enough so I'm not catching on the grass and debris. Thinking maybe just a simple 45. See what that looks like here. I think it'll work. It'll do. So, all right, I guess that's it, huh? It's gonna get loud. And because these are so thick, chop saw didn't go all the way through, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the cut right here with this saw right now. All right, so if everything went the right way, I should be able to roll these over and they should all fit pretty well inside these cuts. Might have to do a little bit of tweaking. Make sure everything's all squared up. pretty good. Little persuasion block here. Get these back ones too. That one just about fell right in. Just about perfect. All right, one final check just to make sure we're fairly square. I'm gonna pull a measurement from corner to corner. So this is about 129 and a quarter. $129 and about an eighth. So it's pretty darn close. Good enough for a goat shed. And so what I'm gonna do to tie these corners together, I have 3/8 by 3.5 inch carriage bolts. Gonna drill a single hole, drop one in, washers and nuts, and that should keep it nice and snug. And to keep everything nice and tidy looking and not have anything sticking up, that's why I got the 3.5 inch carriage bolt, the exact length of this. I'm gonna use a Fastener bit, and I'm gonna actually drill a hole down so I can recess the washer and nut, keep it looking really clean. So I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna throw this on here, and I only have to go, I'm going exactly the depth of the bit itself. That's about the same thickness of a washer and the nut itself. I'm just gonna center it up here. We're gonna give it a whirl. Just like that. Then I'll swap out for my 3/8 drill bit. We'll go right down the center. Just like that. So then you got your carriage bolt up through the bottom. A few taps, get it up in there nice and snug. Then you got your 3/8 washer, drops down in there nice, 3/8 lock washer, and then you got your nut. It's just enough to get everything tightened down and really smooth, and nothing is protruding outside of the wood. There we go. All right, now that we have the base completely secured and tight, I'm gonna get this on the ground so I can start working on everything that's going up from here. See if I can get this down without anything falling over. Oh man, this thing is already getting heavy. There we go. Oh. So the nice thing about this now is now the base is done and complete. That's the final size. I went ahead and I laid the 2x4s out, what would have been about 5 foot tall here. And visually, it was just, it felt too small. So I widened it up each side, each direction. And now from, because once those are built, they're gonna stand up. There's gonna be 3 of those. But once I stand them up, from the ground to the point, now is just under 7 foot. So I mean, I gained another 2 foot, but it just seemed like it was just a little bit too small. Plus in the long run, for me to get inside here and change out straw or clean it up or take care of a sick goat or something, I will fit better in this thing. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. And on my tin I have, it's used tin, and I know it's like 11 foot long, so I know I have plenty of it. I'll have to cut a few feet off, but it'll still work for this setup. yeah, so we just got to cut some of these now down to all the right angles for those to meet up and for those to sit flushed to the end of all the 4x4s. There we go. All right, change of plans. After I screwed together the first set of trusses, I stood them up and it was ridiculous. This thing was so freaking tall. I'm gonna be dragging this thing through the trees. Last thing I wanna do is have to clear out a whole bunch more. So I actually went back to my original plan of 5 feet. So from the ground to the underside of here is 5 feet. And I think that's gonna be just enough space for the goats like I originally thought. So I got this first one screwed together just so I can see what it roughly looks like. Got the other ones already cut down to the new shapes and sizes for the different angles. I guess you gotta screw those together, get them on here, and we can move forward. All right, I got the truss centered in here. I'm actually using a sawhorse to kind of stabilize it, hold it while I get some screws in here. The wind is blowing a little bit, but this isn't too tall, so I don't think I'm too worried about the wind blowing anything over. Just need to get them all up, get something else holding together. And I am spacing this 1.5 inches away from the edge of this 4x4. You'll see why in a little bit. So I'm actually using used tin I got from a friend who had a hailstorm, and they swapped it all out. So this actually has holes already in it. And so what I'm trying to do is match up the tin, the holes, and what I'm gonna do is actually, on the trusses, I'm gonna be running 2x4s along there, and that's what the tin's gonna be screwed to. So what I wanna do, if I can, is utilize the existing holes so I don't have to patch any holes or leave any holes exposed and for dripping and water and stuff. And I think I figured it out. I got 3 sheets here for one side, 3 sheets there for one side. They're actually laid out kind of funky, but all the holes are matching up across each of these. So I think this is what I'm going to utilize. So I'm going to have to do a cut here, cut off that, again on this side, cut it to the right height or length, and then there too. But I will have every single hole utilized, covered, and filled. So I just got to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and lay down my bottom 2x4, my top 2x4, and find the measurement for the middle set of screws. Then I get that other 2x4 up there, cut the tin, get the tin on, and we're just getting that much closer to finish this thing up. All right, so pretty nice. Everything was measured 24 exactly. So you should be able to just pull 24s from here. My 2x4 down here. Then we'll have 24 on center screws. Yep. We got 48. The wind is starting to pick up now too, of course. And then we got 6 foot. So what I'm going to do here is stack them all on top of each other, flush them all together. Now I'm going to start each one of my screws just to save me a little bit of headache. Should be able to just go right up that. I think I'm going to start with the top one, working my way down. Hopefully I can get everything kind of lined up. So I am going to need 1.5 inches extra. Not quite. Perfect. All right, before I get too far into this, get everything all closed up. I do have some eyelets I'm gonna go ahead and attach to the front. And this is what I'll use to pull the entire shelter from place to place. I mean, I thought about putting it on the outside here, but because I cut half that 4x4 out of there, and I don't want to put them here, I feel like that's just gonna be a weak point and eventually snap. So I was thinking about just coming in here a few inches, placing it somewhere around here maybe, and see if that'll work. Should be all right. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Got my Fastener bit. I'm gonna go ahead and drill from the back side. Might just go about that depth, right about there. Okay, same thing, washer, lock washer, and the nut. There we go. Okay, well, we have all 6 sheets of tin stacked on top of each other, all with the screw holes lined up. Got everything clamped down so nothing moves. Got my first cut line marked here, and I got my second one marked there, so we have the perfect height for our shack. We're gonna attempt to cut through all 6 of these at one time. Got a brand new blade on this thing. Guess we'll see what happens. Well, it wasn't actually that bad. I mean, it actually has a pretty nice, decent straight cut through there, so I'm pleasantly surprised. Now, I do have one more cut, and then I'm done for height. I'll have to cut maybe 2 panels for width once I get them up and on there. And then once I get the end walls with the triangles, I'll have to do some crazy cutting there. But those are gonna be like single sheets at a time, so that should be pretty easy. But let's get this last big cut right there. And then we can see what our next move is. Oh, I was really trying not to change blades halfway, and I just got through it. I think it got destroyed right at the end, but they're all cut. So before I lay my tin down, if I were to lay it down now across these 2x4s, there would be a gap behind here, which would cause room for air, water, snow, whatever to get back there. So I'm filling each one of these in with a 2x4, which will allow a nice flat surface all the way through here to screw that tin down, make it nice, tight, and secure. So before I actually laid my tin on, I kind of thought maybe I should do the end wall and then the door wall. That way then when I'm laying my tin here, it'll be easier for me to mark the backside of this tin, and I can cut it pretty nicely. And then obviously this tin will actually overlap in front of this a little bit. But I don't know if you can see back there, I already strung 3 2x4s across there. They're all spaced 24 inches apart, hoping to hit the holes in the tin again. This side is gonna be the door side. I'm kind of just guessing, but so what I did is I put a 32-inch span here. I feel like that's gonna be tall enough for the goats. I'm not really sure how wide I'm gonna go yet, but again, I don't wanna go anything shorter because I still need to get in here on occasion, and I'm sure there's gonna be a kid that wants to get in there to play with goats. I don't know what we're gonna, whatever. So 32 seemed about right. That's to the 4x4. So then you still got another 3.5 inches to the ground, but I think I got this leveled up in place Looks pretty good. Getting it screwed in now, and we'll figure out what width we want it. And then we can, yeah, a couple more 2x4s, and then we're pretty much ready to get some tin on there. I am ready to get some tin on this thing. So what I did here was I took the measurement from the top of this 4x4 to the top of this 2x4, cut my 2x4s to length, and I cut out an 1.25 inch notch. These will fit up underneath here. Now I just gotta figure out where I want my spacing to be, and that's what's gonna create my door. Now I got my center mark here. Just trying to think what a goat might be. I'm thinking about going 24. Just feels like that's about right for someone to actually have to sneak in there too. So we got 12 and 12. I think that's gonna work pretty nicely. So get this up in there like that. There we go. I can drive a couple screws in there, down in there. I got this thing made. So I cut this panel, it's a new panel, just for this back piece. Spaced the screws off that, started there, went down 2.5 like I did every other one, laid the panel up there, and the screw hole was like up here. This one piece of tin is the only one that has, that's like 30 inches. There's 24. The one panel that I grabbed had a 30-inch gap, which is not hitting my 2x4s that I planned for 24s. Every single other one was 24. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this one, because I basically cut one sheet in half, and that's enough to get the front and back the full lengths. But I haven't established all my 2x4s on the front side. So I'm gonna save this one for the front. This other half is based off 24 inches, there, there, and there. But I need to start, the first set of screw holes needs to be 2.5 inches. So I need to cut this here, and hopefully then I still have enough length by the time I get up there. All right, this should fit a little bit better. Let's see, center, there's center. Screw holes, screw holes, screw holes. We did it. Okay, so now I'm gonna clamp this into place, and I can trace the back side. Then I'll know exactly where I need to make my cuts, get this thing screwed on. We'll be good. All right, first piece is done. Looks like it fits pretty good. I'm kind of tack it in place in a few spots. I'm gonna leave these edges open. So I'm not sure if I'm probably gonna have to underlap or overlap each side depending on which side I have exposed. Looks like this is the underside here and this is the overlap. So this side I'll have to tuck a piece behind there to finish that off. All right, just got the second panel. I laid it up there, did the same thing, traced it up there, cut it, and it fits pretty much perfect again. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this screwed in. Now that I have this one in, I can screw the center panel the rest of the way in. All right, finishing this side up. Perfect. All right, we are getting very close, but I cut this just a few minutes ago. I'm about ready to get it up and in there. Need a clamp to hold it. Luckily, these cutoffs from the opposite side, I needed this part of it, is perfect for now over here. And this one, again on this side. So I was just finishing up the last of the tin and the rain finally kicked in hard and heavy. I scrambled, got the side-by-side and a bunch of my tools put away, and it came down. It came down pretty darn good. There's some splatter. You can see where the mud splattered up there, but we got all the tin, both sides, all the way down. Got the ridge cap. I still got to put on right down there, and then I have some trim I got to apply here. And I'll finish it up, make it look nice and pretty. At the same time, I did run out of screws, so actually some of those side panels are only held on by a small handful of screws, but yeah, I think it's time to call her good for the day. Hope you enjoyed today's video. We'll see y'all next time. Later.